I'm 17, and my aunt only pays me $50 a week to babysit for 35 hours and says I'm ruining her life if I quit because she will lose her job. This might get long and be semi-ranty, so apologies in advance. This year, I, 17F, am a junior in high school. I was looking for a job that wouldn't be too stressful or take up too much time but would still allow me to save up for a car. Currently, I have a full schedule and am taking an online college course. My aunt, 33F, contacted me a few weeks into the school year asking if I could babysit her 7-year-old daughter for varying hours after school. She said that depending on how many hours I worked, she would pay me between $50 and $100 a week. I thought that was fine, it was only after school for a few hours, etc. My aunt lives in the same town as me, so I just rode the bus home with her daughter. For the first few weeks, it was fine. She paid consistently, she was nice, etc. I do not really like the kid. I don't really connect with kids well, but I didn't think it would be too much of an issue since I'm not trying to raise her. However, this kid is honestly one of the worst behaved kids I have ever met. Around her mom, she acts like an angel. Around me, not so much. Some incidents include running away when I wouldn't let her eat a can of frosting, faking an asthma attack and pretending not to know where her inhaler was, so I called her mom an almost 911 and throwing/breaking things such as glass when she gets angry. Then, her mom increased the hours that I'm working but not the pay. Currently, I work from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day and get paid $50 a week. I have tried explaining that I refuse to work 25 to 35 hours a week for $50. Whenever I say this, she gets really upset and even cried once about how she can't afford to pay me more. I feel really guilty, but I keep noticing that she buys her daughter expensive toys weekly, she's into magic, and she just bought her a magic kit that was over $150. Whenever I bring up these things, she says that no one will watch her kid, she will have to lose her job, etc., etc. My grades are suffering because I am in primarily honors/AP classes, and I don't have the time to do homework or even study for my SATs/ACTs because my aunt does not let me do homework while I'm with her daughter. She says I can't focus on her daughter and the work at the same time. So I get home, do my work until 1 a.m. usually, and then wake up at 6. My junior year is incredibly important. She has even started asking me to work on weekends, and I can't even spend time with friends because I am catching up on a week's worth of work. Next, every time I ask for a day off, she loses it. I have been planning a trip to Europe with my school for about a year now. I told her about it when I first started working for her, and it's happening in a few weeks. Last week, she told me I couldn't go because she needed someone to babysit her daughter. She explicitly told me I couldn't go. She didn't ask if I would skip it, she said I couldn't. I explained it was fully paid for and non-refundable and an experience I do not want to miss out on, and she started crying and screaming about how inconsiderate I am, how she's going to have to take a week off work, lose her job, etc. I'm honestly baffled at this, considering I told her in September. Her 21-year-old son also lives at home and does not have a job or go to school. I am wondering why he can't watch her for a week, or really at all. When I asked why her son couldn't watch her, she said he was getting a job. This was in January. He still does not have a job. Now on to the real problem. She has assumed, without consulting me, that I will be working for her from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day during the summer and then continue the schedule I have now into my senior year. I have not even managed to save up enough for a decent car because she doesn't pay well, and I am definitely not going to continue this. I've resigned myself to do it until my junior year ends, but that's it. This summer, I am doing a range of programs for pre-college and major type programs. I will be busy, and my senior year I am taking an online high school class as well as 2 college classes outside of school. I will simply not have the time nor energy to deal with this woman and her child any longer. My question is this: how can I get out of this? I want to tell her way ahead of time so that she doesn't have more leverage to guilt-trip me when the time comes for me to stop working for her. I have brought this up once before and she yelled at me and claimed I was trying to get her to lose her job because she will have no one to watch her daughter. I don't know how to get out of this without being guilt-tripped. It is not my responsibility to care for her daughter for the year when I took this as a casual after-school job. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Tell her no. When she cries, tell her no. When she rages, tell her no. If you want to feel better about it, write a list of the crap that happens as it happens. Break down how much she's effectively paying you per hour, which is peanuts. Present this list to her. Your education and peace of mind are on the line. There's a popular saying on Reddit: you can't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Stop immolating yourself. Martyrdom sucks, and it doesn't pay well. Commenter 2. Oh honey, you are being used and abused here. At my job, we have a 16-year-old intern who occasionally babysits my toddler on a random weekend. I pay her $10 per hour, plus I make sure to have sandwiches and cake pops ready for her so she has something tasty to eat while my husband and I go out on our date. I am 26. Your aunt might be older than me and probably makes better money than I do, and yet she can't afford $100 per week for her child to be taken care of? That is ridiculous. It boggles my mind how an adult can treat a younger family member like this. I guarantee you if you ask around your neighborhood for babysitting gigs, they would pay you so much more than this. Take care of your sanity and your grades, and quit. If you don't mind me asking, where is your cousin's father? Op's response. She has been married twice and is engaged to be married again. Her 21-year-old son is with her first husband, and her daughter, whom I babysit, is with her second. He visits her every other weekend, and on those days, he picks her up on that Friday at a reasonable hour, usually 5 to 6. I really like her father, but I don't think he knows how much she pays me or anything like that. Op adds an edit to her post. I have spoken to my mother about this, and she told me to honor the commitment I made. My father is not in the picture, so I can't speak to him. Thank you very much for all the advice I have been given, it really means a lot. I have tried speaking to friends about this, but they all have jobs working at McDonald's and similar places, so they have set schedules, pay, etc. I live in a very small town, and there is no daycare or anything of the sort. I forgot to mention that she also drives me home afterward, a 5 to 10 minute drive, since I don't have a car, and she claims the gas money to drive me home is part of the reason she can't pay me more. Edit 2. I also forgot to mention that I have a therapist, and I have spoken with her about this. She believes I am being used by my aunt. She says that for this many hours, a babysitter of my caliber should not be paid this little. This statement kind of got the gears turning and made me realize that I can't keep doing this for the next year and a half. Update 2 months 2 weeks later. First, thank you to everyone who responded. I was very surprised to see the outpouring of people who could relate and had helpful advice. I'm sorry I didn't respond to everyone, but I'm very thankful. I want to say that I kind of fudged the part about her being my aunt. She's not really, she's my mom's distant cousin who happens to live in our town. I was looking for a job, and my mom saw on Facebook that she was asking for someone to babysit her kid. So, she's not technically close family. I just didn't want the post to be too specific because I didn't know if anyone involved browses Reddit, but I don't care anymore. So, what happened was I talked to my not really aunt the day before I had to leave for my school trip to Europe. I kind of planned it this way so she couldn't try to talk me back into it while I was gone, since I had no access to texting. The day before I talked to my aunt, I told my mom everything, how my schoolwork was being affected, how it wasn't helping our family anymore, how I was being taken advantage of, and I brought up all the points other Redditors mentioned. She finally agreed that it was wrong for me to keep doing it, and that her son should watch the kid or someone else who could actually control her better. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last post, but the kid I babysit has increasingly become badly behaved. One day I dyed my hair brown, and she said, "Why would you do that? You look like an effing monster," as an example. So, onto the drama. When my not really aunt dropped me off at my house, I stayed in the car so I could talk to her. I said that I would be unable to continue watching the kid when I returned from school. She immediately tried to say that that wasn't possible, that she didn't have anyone else, etc. I touched on a few points, here are a couple of them. My grades are failing. I'm taking a college class and finals are coming up, I need to study. I can't control her kid well enough anymore, the kid wasn't in the car during this conversation, her brother was watching her at the time. I'm not being paid enough. She tried to convince me she would pay me more soon. I told her I didn't want more money, I just didn't want to babysit anymore. I told her to look for other babysitters. At the end of it all, she basically told me that if I wasn't there to babysit the Monday I got back, she would be extremely disappointed and called me selfish, saying I didn't care about family. At this point, I was kind of annoyed, so I just got out of the car and went inside. I asked my mom to go talk to her because I figured she wouldn't take me seriously. My mom lied to her and said that I could no longer work, like it was a punishment, because my grades were failing. She got pretty irritated and made a remark about how I wasn't adult enough to handle working and school at the same time. That made my mom pretty mad, and they got in a fight about it. I'm glad my mom stood up for me, though. Anyway, after that, things seemed okay. I got back and didn't go babysit, there were a few texts like, maybe next year you could help again, and I was just thinking nope. I waited a while to post this in case something else happened, but the most that's happened is her asking if I could watch her kid for a day or something like that. I never respond because I don't want to incite anything. All in all, I'm done with my college classes, I'm going to be a senior soon, and maybe next year I can find a real job that I actually enjoy and get paid for. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. The whole time I was reading your original post, I was thinking, where's your mother in all this? If I were your mother, I would have been outraged at this woman for taking advantage of you. Then to find out that your own mother was not only allowing you, a wonderful, hardworking, ambitious student, to work at a job paying $1 to $2 per hour, but that she set you up with a woman who wasn't even a relative? And then told you to honor your commitments? I'm sorry, but speaking as a mother, yours is failing in multiple ways: to love you, protect you from exploitative situations, to teach you appropriate priorities. Dear sweet Lord, that's just not right. I'm glad she finally did get around to helping you. I would have shut that crap down a long time ago. I don't even think you need this reply. I'm so upset with your mother I had to write something. The child you babysat was a brat because her mother was a bully. She was/is bullying you, and your mother allowed it. Please recognize that, for whatever reason, your mother found it necessary to teach you to be exploited by other people. Your next task is to unlearn this lesson as fast as possible before one scammy jerk after another enters your life and victimizes you.